Hope might still be there, because if anything is to go by, nothing is truly certain until an announcement is made. Persona 4's PS5 remake is apparently going to be something that may very well happen, because a domain was registered that so basically what's happening is that P4R is being registered as a domain, similarly to like when P4RE is a domain that was registered, because P3RE was registered a couple of years ago, and then a couple of months later we got the announcement of the Persona 3 Reload or Persona 3 Remake, and then later on got the answer DLC and stuff like that added on after the fact, because there's so many different versions of Persona 3 that it was hard to tell what version was going to be brought forward. So now we've got the same thing happening with Persona 4. But the problem is that when it comes to making domains, anyone can make a domain, especially in Japan, through specific sites. So this might be a big old nothing burger. But if history dictates anything, there is a possibility that we may very well see a Persona 4 remake potentially in the works, and in a few months it's going to be Summer Game Fest. So I think all things considered, if we do see anything, it'll likely be there. So I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for Summer Game Fest, not just for Persona 4 remake, which some people have made some really good jokes to the effect of it should be called Persona 4 Rerun, because it features the Midnight Channel, which is where people get dragged into. So it's very much more of a TV vibe to the idea of Rerun. But we'll just kind of have to wait and see how things go. One thing I'll give the author of this article credit for, Kyle Adam here, I have to give him credit for this. Time to Make History. I love that this is the subtitle of the article. So for those of you guys that don't know, this actually references a very specific track in the Persona 4 soundtrack, and my god, the music in Persona 4 Golden is just absolutely glorious. I love watching the opening every now and again on YouTube. It's so good. It's so colorful. And yet it's so weird to think that the story is actually quite dark, with albeit probably the happiest ending in the entire Persona series. If I'm being completely honest, I think for the most part, I would say. But yeah, so it's kind of crazy to think that with Persona 3 Remake out of the way and a potential Persona 4 remake coming in, is there a possibility that Persona 5 could get a remake? I highly doubt it. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about actually about Persona 4 getting a remake is which version of Persona 4 is going to get that remake. So it's worth keeping in mind that with Persona 3 there's multiple versions, and then they chose to remake the original but then bring in content that was that appeared in FES after the fact, which is the answer epilogue. So you might be thinking, what's the difference between Persona 4 and Persona 4 Golden? Basically, with Persona 4 Golden, you get an additional dungeon at the end of the game, and basically that's about it. Just an additional dungeon. Oh, and the events during summer as well. So you basically get an entire new season as well, event-wise. So it's just an expansion on the original, and that additional dungeon and season is just tacked on at the end of the game, but it largely doesn't feel like much of an epilogue anyways. But it could very well be the case. Basically what I'm trying to get at here is I could see them remaking Persona 4 and selling the golden part of it, the golden or the additional season at the end of the game as DLC. That could very well be the case. But yeah, so here we go. So here are the actual website domains in particular. So it is p4re.jp. So letter P, number 4, letter R, letter E, .jp. And we're kind of hoping for a bunch. But 2 years ago, p3re.jp was also registered. So these are all Japanese domains. And so it says here, who is record for P4RE.jp, and so whoever it is located in Tokyo, Japan Network Information Center. Okay. ASN is InterQ GMO Internet Group, so Group Inc. JP, so it's a Japanese company. Beyond that, we don't really have much more information, except for that it was created on the 20th of March 2025 and is going to expire on the 31st of March 2026. So it's basically going to last a full year. Yeah, and so as Faz, this individual from Twitter points out, 2 years ago, P3RE.jp was registered. 3 months later, Persona 3 Reload was revealed. And of course, we didn't get information about the answer until later on. So I wonder, like I said, if anything is going to happen with Persona 4 Remake. And just to kind of give a bit of an idea, Persona 4 was my first Persona game. I absolutely love the game. The cast of characters, I think, are a lot better than I think Persona 3 and Persona 5. I have to go back and replay 1 and 2 again just to kind of get myself an idea of like what the characters were like. But when it came to like well written and enjoyable characters, I enjoyed the Persona 4 Scooby Gang a lot more. And I say Scooby Gang not to like hit on any spoilers, but it just works because it's about solving murders basically. And if you don't solve the murder early enough, then whoever, you know... Wait, hold on, no. Oh no, if you don't complete the dungeon on time, you won't be able to add that person to your... Well, you basically just get a game over then, don't you? Basically, mangled corpses appear after a foggy day in Inaba, and then the next day, that's kind of when everyone... No, actually, mangled corpses appear, and then there's this whole mystery midnight channel thing that goes on, and then the main character and main character gets sucked into the TV along with Chie and Yusuke? No, is that his name? Basically, this dude here with the orange hair, main character, and I think Chie was also there. I can't remember if she was sucked into the TV because it was in the middle of when the guys were in juniors. Anyway, I'm getting too much into the details of like the beginning of the story. I haven't played the game in over 10 years now at this point, because I platinumed the game back in 2014. So definitely a game worth jumping back into. I know I've got the PS4 version of the game that's basically a remaster, so I do kind of wonder, what would a native PS5/Xbox Series S and X version even look like? That'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I'm very happy to see information about this game getting a remake. It is personally my favorite of the Persona games, because Persona 4 actually kind of fell into like this really weird spot in terms of how the dungeon design went, where in Persona 3, the entire game is one massive dungeon where every floor is randomly generated. Then you have Persona 5, where you've got different dungeons, but there's no procedural generation in the game. And then in the middle, you have Persona 4, where you've got multiple dungeons. So it's closer to Persona 5 in terms of how many dungeons you have compared to Persona 3, having the only one dungeon. But the internal dungeon design is all the floors except for the last one are randomly generated, owing itself back to Persona 3 compared to Persona 5. So I feel like Persona 4 always has felt like the sort of happy medium between Persona 3 and Persona 5. Granted, a game from 2008 doesn't age particularly well, but the 2012 re-release of Persona 4 in the form of Persona 4 Golden on the Vita did in fact do just great stuff in my opinion. But with all that being said, let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 500 subs by the end of the year. And with all that being said, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.